I'd like to go ahead and welcome back our friend and contributing editor, Caleb Anderson, who will be moderating our adventure and sport presentation featuring Norqain and Reservoir. I want to thank you again for joining us for WatchTime Live, and we'll now turn the time over to Caleb.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Caleb. I am a contributing editor for WatchTime, and yes, thank you all so much for joining us once again. I'm joined today by François, Naissance, CMO and partner of Reservoir, and also from Norqain, Emmanuel Bütler, managing director, and from Joyce Jewelers, also representing Norqain, Zach Clabo. You guys want to say hi?
Yeah, hello everybody. Nice to be here. Very excited.
Hello everybody.
Great. So as we start all of our panels, I'll start with the easiest question that we have. What's on your wrist? François, why don't we turn to you first?
Yeah, I'm just wearing a Reservoir GT Tour, the one you see here. So it's this watch. It's a particular model because it's one of the first one we launched as a Reservoir young watchmaking brand.
That's great. And Norqain, what are you both wearing?
I'm wearing the very new Adventure Sport NHL PA Special Edition. It's a partnership that we have together with the NHL PA, and we just launched the watch a week ago, and it's one of the first pieces we have in the US, so I'm very happy to wear it.
Great looking watch. I'm wearing the Norqain Freedom 60 chronograph. Love this piece of chronograph. Just weird.
Sorry to interrupt. We're having some sound issues. Can you repeat that? Your microphone is a little staticky, Norqain.
Yes. So I am wearing the NHL PA Special Edition watch. Very happy to have this partnership together with the NHL PA, and we just received it recently in the US.
And I am wearing the Freedom 60 chronograph. Love this watch. I've had it just under a year and see myself wearing it a lot.
There's a little bit of feedback coming from you guys.
Norqain, I'm not sure if you have a microphone, but maybe if you just turn your volume down a little bit, it's just, it's a little bit staticky.
Okay. Can you hear us better now?
Yes, that's good.
Okay.
So jumping right into our panel, let's first turn to Reservoir. François, I know that you prepared some materials, so why don't you take it away?
Yes, I will do that. So I'm very happy to be with you this morning. Just in a nutshell, who we are basically. We are a French watchmaking house. We have been established 3.5 years ago, and the whole idea about Reservoir is really to take inspiration from time or measuring instruments from the past. You can see here some people from flying or under the sea or driving cars. So it's all about taking inspiration from counters, rev, time instruments from a dashboard. Then we try to translate it into, let's say, fine watches, mechanical watches from Switzerland, and we design it here in Paris, and we basically build it in Switzerland to get basically a sort of really the most close look to a contometer, for example, for a car. And it gives you a sort of new way of reading time. And I will just share with you a very short video to explain you how to read the time on our watches. So we really start from a meter. It could be speed, pressure, altitude, depth, and then we use a retrograde minute really to take back this, or to have a very look like this type of instrument. Then we have a jumping hour, and then we have a power reserve, which is like a jauge. So based on three complications, we can really reproduce measurement instruments and basically show a time in a new manner. So here it's almost 8. You can see the retrograde minute jumping back, and then the hour is moving on. So the idea is really to how we can be the most close to the measurement instrument in a really breathtaking manner, and that's why we make a long time in terms of identifying what type of complication we should basically base or used to reproduce this on a watch. So that's why you can see here the retrograde minute, which basically measures the minutes here. Then we have the jumping hours, which is basically like a mileage meter, for instance, on a car. You can see here. And then we have all the elements linked to a jauge. For example, from a car is a fuel jauge, which basically will be translated into our power reserve because it's an automatic mechanic watch. And here it's basically the free complication, which give you a new way to read time. So here it's 6:45. So all of our models is based on it's a Swiss made. We have partnered with a very high watches guy based in La Chaux-de-Fonds. It's Telos watch. They have developed for us a specific module which basically took the energy from an ETA 2824, and we have made a big bespoke module to bring this energy from the ETA movement to the complication. And it gives you 37 hours of power reserve, but it gives you as well all the benefits of a Swiss-made complication, but as well a Swiss-made watch. That means the precision, very nice details, and we had a lot of feature around to make a really a very strong watch. So you have an anti-reflective sapphire crystal. You have on the back, you can see the movement with an open case back at 240 degrees, which is basically reproduce the movement of the retrograde on the front. And because we are new and we trust a lot into this building, we offer 3 years international warranty instead of 2 for all of our buyers. This work has been acclaimed by as well people from the industry, and you can see on the right that we have year for the 3rd time in a row and the 3rd year in a row a GPHD nomination, which means this is a Grand Prix de l'Horlogerie de Genève for really the novelty, the way we reproduce the time, but as well all the elements we are using inside the watch. So based on that, on the French inspiration and as well Swiss-made collection, we, as I mentioned to you just at the introduction, I'm wearing a GT Tour. GT Tour is one of our first novel. It's based on the methods from dashboard from vintage car, German car mainly, and it really looks like your rev instrument on dashboard, which measures the number of tours per minute of your engine, how it works. So we had a way to show it by only using 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which basically is the minutes, indicates the minutes, but it's times 10 minutes, like what you have on your dashboard for your car. And then it's really one of our first inspiration about racing vintage car. So what is cool about this watch is you can really see the minutes going on, and then you have a sort of intensity to see the minutes up to the moment where the minutes will be at 60 or 6, and then with the single hand will be back to 0, and this is a new hour which is coming. So there is a sort of intensity at the end when this minute is retrograding on the other one. So our collection now in more than 3 years has been expanding. We have this type of watch with a laser bracelet. It's steel, only steel. But we have now a launch this year, steel bracelet as well, which give an astonishing look about the watch itself. And we have last year extended the range with a blue version, a blue edition version, which is a blue which is not too shiny. It's a little bit matte. It's close to black, so it keep as well a sense of the spirit about vintage racing car ID. What you can see as well is one of the other aspects of Reservoir. It's offering an astonishing way to read time based on Swiss-made free complication, and all at a really reasonable price because we are just around $4,000 US, which is basically one of our ideas about launching Reservoir, is to propose to many an access to a real Swiss-made.
François-Marie, we lost you for a second. I'm going to turn your video off to see if that helps. I think we have lost him. Caleb, why don't we move ahead to,
Okay.
why don't we move ahead to Norqain and see if he comes back in a moment.
Okay. Well, a little anticlimactic maybe, but not a problem. Norqain, are you still with us?
Yes, we're still here. Can you hear us?
Yes. Okay, great. Well, Norqain, you also prepared a presentation for us. So while we're waiting for François, why don't we jump into yours?
Okay, presentation is on.
We seem to not be blessed by the internet gods today.
No, we do not.
The joys of Zoom. Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Emmanuel,
so we're going to go quickly through the collection, maybe as an introduction. Zach Clabo is the watch guy from Joyce's Jewelry. Joyce's Jewelry is one of our retailers in Uniontown, just outside Pittsburgh, and I'm very joined Joyce's Jewelry last year as a new retailer. We're very happy with the partnership. Maybe you can also say a few words about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been well received by our customer base. Great quality of watch, great price point, and we're really excited. There's constantly new products that are coming out, and something that our customers are excited about, and we are as well.
Okay, excellent. So I'm not going to go dig too much into the brand or into the story, because Ben Kuffer, our CEO and founder, already had a webinar with WatchTime yesterday. So for those of you who want to know more about the brand and everything, I really I suggest you go and check yesterday's webinar. You'll find a lot of nice information there as well. So we're really here to talk about the collection, to speak about the watches. Thank you very much, Caroline, for starting the presentation. We have 3 collections: the Adventure Collection, the Independence Collection, and the Freedom 60 Collection. So first up, the Adventure Collection is really about, you know, as the panel says, it's about the adventure, it's about the outdoors, it's an exciting watch. It's a really popular model that we have. There's a 3-hand version, there is a chrono version, and it's really one of our best sellers, starting price at 1,850. Here you can see the 3-hand models, comes in different color, fabric and leather, Nordura strap on the right hand side, on the gray one as well. Maybe Zach, you can say a few words on how this collection is received in your store.
Yeah, this is one of our most popular, and probably across the country as well. The quality is phenomenal, and so much detail. If you look at that dial, really, really cool piece, and then engravable side plate just sets it off as well.
Yes, thank you. We're going to talk about the side plate in a minute. So basically, every one of our watches has a side plate, an engravable side plate. It has, you know, you probably can't see it on the small monitor, but you can see it there. We have an engraved WatchTime Live, for example. It's very, very popular. Works well as a gift as well. You know, Christmas is coming up, any birthday, anniversaries. We have a lot of, you know, personal stories, wedding dates, or name of the children, or you know, it's just special life moments. I myself, for example, I made a mistake. I put my marathon running time on the side. So in order to kind of motivate myself to run quicker next time, didn't really work this year. But because it's also an interchangeable plate, whenever you want to change the plate, you can put something new on it. You have a, you know, another child and you want to put a second or a third name on it, you can do that as well. So my idea was that next time I beat my personal record marathon time, I get a new plate. But so far I haven't managed it yet, so I need to keep practice. Say something about this.
Yeah, so the engravable side plate for me, you know, I don't have kids yet, I was just married, but for me, I put my last name. It's not something I'm going to have to change, because I want to pass my watches down to my kids someday. This is a really cool watch on the screen now.
Yes, so now we can switch over to the NHLPA watch. So NHLPA is a very exciting partnership with Switzerland. Mark Streit, who is a Stanley Cup winner with the Pittsburgh Penguins, just down the road from where we are at the moment. He won the Stanley Cup in 2017, and he retired afterwards, and he joined Norqain, which was founded in 2018, as part of the board, and we're very excited to have him, as well as, for example, Romagnosi, who is the captain of the Nashville Predators and won the Defenseman of the Year award this year. So it's very exciting to have these people on board, and it really helps us to, you know, connect with the hockey community as well. So thanks to the partnership with the NHLPA, we're able to launch the NHLPA special adventure sport chrono watch. It's a 41mm watch, and what is very special about it, you can probably see it on the screen, it has an eye-scratched dial, so it is limited to only 500 pieces. And it also has the 9 o'clock subdial of the chrono is a face-off circle of the hockey rink. So it's really, you know, it's an exciting watch. It really, you know, celebrates the ice hockey community and the sport of ice hockey. So it's a very nice piece.
We're excited. Yesterday was the first time I saw it in person, and I absolutely love it. The golf tournament that we're hosting today, I told Emmanuel to bring as many as he could, because I know that we have interest in these.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, then I'd like to talk about another exciting partnership that we have, which is the partnership that we're able to manage with the Kenissi. Kenissi is the movement manufacturer founded by Tudor, and thanks to them we're able to have 2 manufactured caliber lighting movements. They are both of them. One is a 3-hand And what is exciting about them, they're both chronometer certified. And I mean, all the ones I've tested, they're even much more precise than the -4 plus 6 seconds of the chronometer certification. They also have a 70-hour power reserve. They have a unique Norqain decoration. Also, if you look closely, the spring bridge is fixated on 2 sides, so it's much more sturdy as well. And the GMT movement even has the jumping hour as well. So it's very easy to switch between time zones when you're traveling around. And the first piece that we launched with the new Kinesi movement was the Independence 20 model. The Independence is our one of our 3 collections. It's always a very unique, has a unique design twist to the collection. As you see here, it has a beautiful forest green dial, and it is hand scratched the dial. So it's limited to it's scratched by hand. So the pattern on the dial is unique to every watch, and a stunning release that we had at the end of July, only 200 pieces, and pretty much sold out very quickly. But I think, Zach, you might have maybe 1 or 2 pieces still.
We do have one, and we love it. That's scratched out, as Emmanuel said.
Definitely. So that is the Independence. And then the 3rd collection is the Freedom 60 collection. The Freedom 60 collection, it has a much more of a vintage, of a more classic design. Depending on the size, there is also a 3-hand model, there is a chrono model, and the one you see right now is actually the GMT. Also the Kinesi movement inside the GMT watch, and really a beautiful design. Comes both in a steel version and, as you can see here, in a bronze version. Bronze version is limited to only 300 pieces, and this is really brand new. They're not even in store yet. I just also showed the first pieces yesterday to Zach, and that is a really exciting new release that we have, together also with the other Freedom 60 39mm, which we also launched a couple of weeks ago. So we are going down a little bit in the size. The previous 3-hand model was 42mm. This one here now is 39mm, also with the Kinesi movement. So again, you have the chronometer certification, you have the 70-hour power reserve, you have the 2-point fixated balance bridge, and all the features that come thanks to the Kinesi movement. What are your first impressions about the watches?
First impressions is great. It's a great size. I'm getting a lot of requests for a smaller size, so a 39mm in a GMT is really nice, and we're excited. This is the first time that we've seen a piece, and we're super excited.
Okay, good. So that was going through the collection, and in the Freedom 60 we also have, of course, the permanent collection, which is the 42mm 3-hand model, the one you can see now on the screen as well. And then there's also a beautiful chrono model, one of our best sellers, the chrono, which is in 43mm, comes in a green dial. That's the one that Zach is wearing now, as well as a black and white dial, and a new limited edition in a anthracite dial as well. Yeah, that's one you can see on the screen now. So this is the inverse panda dial of the Freedom 60 chrono. Yes, so there you go. That was a little run through our collection. I also maybe a little add-on. I don't know if you can see it on the screen here, but this is one of our adventure collections. It's called the Reco watch. So Reco on the strap, actually, in line with the adventure theme. Reco is a Scandinavian rescue technology. So inside the strap of this adventure watch, you have a passive that if you are in lost somewhere, maybe you went out skiing and you got lost, or you went on a nice hike in a natural park and you got lost as well, the rescue team can come out, and the helicopter can fly over the area where you think somebody is lost. They send out the radar signal from the helicopter, and this radar signal gets passively comes back from the ship here, and that way the rescue team is able to locate precisely where you are lost. And thanks to the watch, you can be you can be located and then you can be rescued as well. So that's certainly a nice additional feature. Also can be a very handy watch. So it's just a passive chip in it. It does not need any battery. It has no expiry date or anything. It's just a passive chip. Okay, so that's a little rundown of our collection. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm very happy to take some of your questions.
That's great. Thank you both. Yeah, Emmanuel and Zach, it's so great to have you here, and thank you so much for your presentation. Zach, since you are here, I'd love to hear more about the traditional retail side of things and the importance of it. Norqain has certainly been one of the more prominent players to push an e-commerce approach in addition to a traditional retail approach, which we actually heard a little bit about from Ben yesterday. So Emmanuel, first to you and then to Zach, why is it important to have this sort of dual approach between traditional retail and e-commerce?
Okay, so I mean, from our point of view, we purposely decided to go through the traditional retail. It's very important for us to partner up with retailers like Choice of Jewelry. They really are great partners. They really help us to bring the brands to the customer. Our watches are meant to be touched, are meant to be worn, are meant to be experienced. So thanks to retailers like Choices, it's really possible for us to bring the watch out there and to make sure that people can actually try them on.
And off of what Emmanuel said, this is something you have to touch and feel. And the dial, for example, of the Adventure Sport Collection, it's something that once you see it, it really draws you into this watch. And it's something different than other watches on the market right now. I wear the Freedom 60, and it's just something that's so comfortable, great size, and a great look. And we're excited to be a partner with Norqain.
Zach, I'm thinking now, Norqain is such a new brand. It was only launched a few years ago. What has your, how have you felt about the consumer response to having these watches in the boutique?
It's been great.
Okay, great.
We're getting customers that have started a collection, or maybe with the Adventure, and now they're excited about the new launch of NHL Players Association. So, for such a new brand to create collectors of a brand is really exciting. So we're excited to see the growth of the company, and we think it's going to be a really great partnership for us over the years.
Great. Speaking of collectors, the new Freedom 60 DMC and 39mm were both developed largely as a part of Norqain's direct conversations with fans and collectors, in a response to suit exactly what they were looking for or asking for. A lot of brands are often faulted for not listening to their collectors, either adding a date window or not adding a date window, or the size, whatever it may be. But Norqain absolutely seems to be directly interacting with its fans on a much more day-to-day basis. Emmanuel, could you tell us maybe a little bit more about those discussions with collectors directly?
100%. For us, we have a great relationship with Emmanuel, and we're able to give the customers feedback to Emmanuel and let him know. And Emmanuel can touch on that a little bit more as well.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, several different channels. Obviously, as I said, it's very important for us to have these retailers because they are in daily contact with the collectors and they can really listen to them. For example, that is also why we launched a 39mm three-hand model, because I think there is a market at the moment for kind of I would say traditionally smaller sized models as well. So that's why we went down that road as well. Communicate to us. So it's just very important that every day we listen to the customers, and of course everybody has their own opinions, and I think that is what is exciting about the watch industry, that everybody has their own taste, but clearly we always try to listen to them in order to get the right products out.
Mm-hmm. Switching to the theme of our panel, adventure and sport, Norqain has from its start always presented itself as a very adventurous and sporty brand. You even have a collection titled Adventure Sport, and I actually happen to be wearing the Adventure Sport model. So it's likely many of your buyers follow pretty similar lifestyles. So on that note, could you maybe tell us a little bit more about who the average Norqain buyer is?
Yeah, of course. I think Zach is the perfect person to tell us a little bit about who the Norqain customer is.
Absolutely. So it's definitely that person that likes to get out, go on hikes, do adventures, but also the golfer, the avid athlete. You know, our customers are so broad in Western Pennsylvania. You know, as I look out at a beautiful day, and that's exciting that we were able to put that on their wrist.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, adventure sport really is in the DNA of the company. I mentioned before that we have, you know, even a former professional ice hockey player on the board of the company, Ben Kuffer, our CEO and founder. He loves to do a lot of sports. He's big into soccer and many other things. I wear my adventure sport to do everything. I play golf. I go running. I swim with it. It's such a versatile watch. The rubber strap is so comfortable. You can really do so many things. And I think that's, you know, it's not just a marketing gag. It's really something that we all have in our DNA. And I think I'm very lucky to have, you know, to work with people. One is our retailers like Zach, but also the whole team in Switzerland. It's just, you know, we all have a very similar lifestyle, and you know, we get along very well, not just at work, but also outside of work. And it's nice to work for a company like that, where you don't have to necessarily live your own life also when you're working.
Mm-hmm. François from Reservoir, I know you're back. I have one more question for Norqain, and then we're going to jump right back into your presentation. So on the topic of ice hockey, Norqain, this is the last question for you. It's quite the adventurous sport, and Norqain is probably one of the few, if not the only, watch brand that seems to directly want to develop partnerships with the sport. And as you mentioned a few times, you have the latest adventure sport model novelty with the NHLPA. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about that partnership directly and maybe how it informs your work as the managing director in the US?
Yeah, definitely. So of course, the NHLPA partnership is extremely interesting for us, especially in the US. You know, we're lucky, thanks to Mark Streit, that we have this partnership. It really enables us to, you know, I mean, the NHLPA is a fun watch. It's an exciting watch. You know, they're really playing around with the dial, with the little face-off on the sub-dial at 9 o'clock. It's just, you know, it's a celebration of the sport of ice hockey and of our partnership together with the NHLPA. And I think that's also what is Norqain about. You know, the R in Norqain stands for rebellious, the A stands for adventure. So that's kind of the DNA of the before. We like to do things sometimes a little bit differently, and also just dare something, try out something. You know, not everybody is good, and you know, let's get excited.
I think we may have lost you, Norqain, but that's okay. François, are you with us?
Yes, I'm in. Sorry for the
Okay.
poor connection. I'm basically connected from Paris, and I don't know why I disappeared.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're back. We're all glad you're back. Do you want to pick up where you left off? Do you remember
Yes,
where you...
I could jump back on my presentation when I crashed. Okay. So just to mention that we have extended the collection of GT Tour with some skeleton model. You can see here on the right side. These were basically our first skeleton model. We listened to our clients and consumer, and they were really asking us about what happened basically inside the watch. I would like to see how the retrograde minutes works and all the mechanism behind. So that's why we have developed that. And you can see that this is something really new that we launched in June, will be available on the market now, and especially in the US. And it gives you an astonishing look about how the complication is working inside. What we have done as well is something a little bit higher in terms of sports. We have partnered with Idexport racing car. It's an LMP2 car. It's basically a car who basically runs the 24 hours of Le Mans, one of the most famous racing endurance car endurance race in the world. And what we did basically, we placed this model, which is a black skeleton version of our skeleton, in the car. So we placed 24 models in the car, and basically the watches did the race. So it's a limited edition of 24 pieces, and it's as well available in the US as from now on. And all of our product comes with this type of case where we had an additional NATO in the case. And for all the people who are connected on WatchTime Live, we have a specific edition we had on the sort of gift purchase called Swiss Cubic Winder on top of the watch. So we are present in the market in the US now since more than 3 years, and we are present in almost 10 points of sales in the US, within the US. We have a very good welcome from our friends there, and watch collectors, but as well people who want to live the adventure with us. And now it's over, so that's okay.
It's okay. It's a flawless finish. Okay. So you mentioned the retrograde minute complication jumping out a few times, and they are certainly signature complications and design elements of Reservoir watches. So can you maybe tell us how do these two complications come together to make its wearer's life, your buyer's life, a little bit more adventurous and sporty, if not literally, if not literally using the watch, but maybe symbolically?
We all the DNA of our brand is really to make looks like a measurement instrument. So, and our source of inspiration, it's all the things linked to cars, to plane, and to all the instruments you need around sea. So as soon as we develop the watch, we stick to our DNA. That means free complication, looks like give you a certain way of reading time, but always inspired from an instrument or measurement instrument for this universe.
Speaking more to the retrograde minute and jumping hour, Reservoir has been able to apply these complications to a pretty wide assortment of watches, from dive watches to pilot watches, to even driving watches, driving watches to pilot watches to even dive watches recently. Could you maybe give us a little bit of a peek into the design process when you're taking those complications and those unique design elements, not necessarily towards racing watches, but towards other categories?
If I can take the example of the watches which look like or which basically is used for diving, we call it hydrosphere. This watch, we have developed it based on a manometer. When you used to dive, you use a manometer to measure basically the level of oxygen you have and still remain for you to dive. And this is a little instrument which is basically very important for you to dive. So we use this. If you look at this instrument, there's only one single hand, like our basically very easy to reproduce on our watches. And we try to make it a totally functional diving watch. So we always try to stick to a specific instrument in this universe or this sport, and to reproduce a look-alike, not really, but a look-like as a sort of a watch is, not really a sort of, goodies. It's really a watch. It works.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for the little bit of noise. The real issue of working from home is people start doing landscaping in the middle of the day. So we asked Norqain before a little bit about their average consumer. So I'm curious about yours. Describe to us who the average Reservoir collector is. For example, do you find there's a lot of overlap between collectors of maybe sports cars and Reservoir watches, or describe that person to us?
Yeah, it was really interesting when we start our collection. The first people who buy our watches was collectors, people who basically definitely looks for a retrograde minute. So it's really this single hand way of working. And when they saw basically what we were doing, they say, wow, it's something that I could now buy, because usually a retrograde minute on the market is quite significantly expensive. And the second type of consumer or clients we had afterwards was the people who basically, like the people I show in this picture behind me, people who basically love vintage cars or love the instruments from a certain universe. I don't know, the inspiration of an airfight jet, or would love basically diving with an instrument from the 60s. So this person, love this atmosphere, this universe, and they really could wear their passion on their wrist. So it's really a second type of clientele, but really we basically have a sort of passion with them, or we get a very strong bond with them.
That's really interesting to hear. There certainly is a lot of excitement around the brand. I mean, it seems as though the collectors that are interested in the watches are very interested in the watches, and you've won a couple of GPHG awards. You know, there's a lot of positive feelings around the brand. So I'm curious, what's next for Reservoir? What can we look forward to in the months or even years to come?
Yeah, first of all, we are very happy about this welcome, and very humble, because we just share our passion. And when you discuss passion with people who love watches and our universe, really we make a connection right now. So this is really great for us. And the second aspect is GPHG nomination. For us, it's quite unusual to have been nominated every year of our existence at Geneva Prize. So it's as well a sort of recognition from our peers, from the industry, that what we do in terms of work is, let's say, it's recognized. And what's next? So as you can see the DNA of the brand, you can see the different universe. Let's say it's endless. We have no limits about what we can develop. But what we have developed right now is this skeleton version of the GT Tour. For us, it's quite important, because a skeleton version for a watch, it's quite a very strong, let's say, milestone. It requires a lot of design and engineering behind to make it work. And you should have as well a look that works well as well. So it took us a lot of time to develop. And well, I hope that people will love it.
It is funny, because when I first learned about your brand and I learned about the different complications that go into it, it's so funny, because I'm thinking to myself, this has to be so difficult to produce, because there's not watches that use these kinds of complications. So or that are in this price range that use these complications. So it is very curious. I'd love to see a chronograph. I'd love to see, something that really.
Yeah, it's a lot of people talk about this nice idea. So yes, of course we are working on, but it's let's say the way is a long way to do that.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was great speaking with you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to. Mindor, I think, Julia, you're actually going to moderate this section. Now we're going to turn to our collectors and take a couple of their questions for both you, Reservoir, and you, Norqain.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Caleb. Again, I'm Julia Mosby. I am here in the WatchTime office in New York. We do have a few questions that have come in through the Q&A and also through email. So I'm actually going to go ahead and ask a few questions that came in via email. So for Reservoir, François, do you have a favorite vintage racing car?
It's a question with passion. So I have to admit that we had one model from a German brand called, let's say, a Speedster. I don't know if you know this model. It's from the 60s. It's something that has been a really nice shape. It has been as well used by famous American actors, and it's one of our favorite, let's say, car. So perhaps one day we will be able to do something around this car, but let's say it's an idea, it's a dream.
Great, thank you so much. And after that, we had the same person ask the next question, which is, where do you find the gauges and other devices that inspire your dial designs?
Well, Reservoir has been founded by François Moreau. He is the person who has basically established the first model, and the model you see here on the wrist. It came basically in his mind when he was driving, and at a certain moment when you drive, you free your spirit, you free your dreams, and then at moments a lot of things came, and this was really the first element of piece of let's say creation, and then the rest of the range is really coming from his passion for let's say taking picture of all, let's say, countermeasure, all gauges. When he's visiting, I don't know, a submarine, you can visit a submarine in the US, in some ports, you have the ability to do that. So what he's doing is spending hours to take all the picture of, the manometers and so on. And sometimes you say, okay, this one is certainly something, a very good candidate to do watch.
Great, thank you so much. Norqain, I do believe I have some questions for you as well. If you are back online with us, just give me a quick hello so I can know that you're here.
Yes, we're here. Happy to answer questions.
Amazing, wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being so patient. We have been having some technical difficulties with our internet connections today. So I'm glad that we're all here together, and thank you so much to our attendees for sticking around. The question for you is, we have a question from Ankur, and I believe you answered his first question. His second question was, what is the price range for the Kinesi movement watches? All right.
Yes, so the Kinesi movement, for example, the Freedom 60 39 millimeters start at $2,720 US. For the Independence 20, we're looking at 2,800 or 2,990 on the bracelet. And then for the GMT watches, I'm holding up here, it's for the steel version, it's 3,700, and the bronze version is 2,990.
Great, thank you. And we have another question from our presenters from Norqain, which is, did you ever wear a watch while playing hockey? And if so, did it survive?
I haven't. I used to play ice hockey in my younger in the US, so I don't play that often anymore. So I can't say I did it myself. I'm sure our ambassadors, Romagnosi and Mark Streit, are wearing their watches when they're practicing. Obviously, playing it's not really allowed, but it certainly would survive. Where, quality-wise, and Zach has mentioned, it's really up to speed. We launched a collection in the US last year, and really we had very, very, very few minor things with the watches. So overall, very, very happy with the quality. So I'm sure it would survive also a good body check.
Great answer. Absolutely. And François, I've had another question come in for Reservoir. And that is, how important was winning the GPHG as such a young brand in putting Reservoir on the map?
Yeah, very, very interesting question. We are basically a young brand, so we need to build as well our credibility to our collectors and future customers. And GPHG is very well known for really being extremely exceeding expectation in terms of quality, in terms of let's say building of the watch, in terms of aspiration. And it's let's say, yes, it's a seal of credibility, it's a seal of quality. And being part of the GPAG nomination is for us first a very nice reward. We are very humble about that, and we say, okay, wow, we we love it. And the second is really to give a message to the people who want to join the adventure with us that yeah, our watch is built on the very quality and reliability and recognized by the Swiss industry.
Great.
Julia, I have one question for both.
Yes, go ahead, Caleb.
So both Reservoir and Norqain are relatively pretty young brands. So Norqain, I want to ask you first, and then Reservoir will turn to you. What are your biggest markets right now? Where do you see the largest interest? Is it in Europe? Is it in a specific country in Europe? Is it the US? Maybe give us a little bit of insight into that.
Yeah, of course. Our biggest markets at the moment are Switzerland. That's where it all started, of course. We are also have a very strong presence in Japan and, of course, in the US and also in Canada. Of course, Canada also makes a lot of sense thanks to the hockey connections. So these are our four main markets. We also have a good presence in the Middle East and also in several other locations in Europe. So, but I think what is important for us as well is, we need to go step by step. We need to be able to, manage our growth, and we want to work with partners like Joyce's Jewelry, who really believe in the brand. And we don't want to take over the world in 6 months or in 12 months, and then not being able to provide the quality and to provide the product. So for us, it's very important that we have a controlled growth, a nice and steady growth, in order just to be able to serve the market and to be able to support everybody as much as we can.
François, what about you?
Yeah, it's we basically are here to last. We doesn't want just to make a sort of coup or just one or few years. So we try to address let's say our clients where the association of the passion of our universe, or so cars, planes, and diving, and as well watches exist. So it's basically the US, where it's a very strong market for us. We have as well Japan. They are very, very attached to the quality of the finishing, to all the elements. So it's a lot of yes, it's a raise the expectation from our customer, and Western Europe as a whole. Of course, France is important, and now we are expanding around these 3 key markets. To Mexico, all the Asian, Southeast Asian markets, very important markets, and we start with China. So we are really a stronghold for these 3 key markets, and as well we are expanding in all this, and as well Canada, as well from the North American.
Hi everyone, this is Minda, the event director for WatchTime. I have a question that just came in via text for François. What is your best-selling model? And also the second question from this gentleman is, how did you come up with the name Reservoir?
May I start with the second question?
Of course.
So Reservoir is, is something that it's like a jerrycan. It means jerrycan. It's like, I'm showing you, it's a good question. I'm trying to find the picture. I don't know if you can see it.
Because of your background, it becomes invisible.
Okay. So it's the symbol. You can see the symbol on the here. You can see. So it's a flunk of a jerrycan. The one you use in the Jeep Willys, the one you use in the old car, and it's a symbol of energy. The jerrycan is something that it's full of fuel, which basically, or gasoline, which can help you to move on, to go to your adventure. And it's a vintage accessory. Nobody use now a jerrycan, or just for perhaps just old work or manual work, but not anymore is used in cars or in plane. This type of so we find it cool because it gives us a lot of energy, and it's part of the vintage environment. And for the first question about the best-selling SKUs, what we were surprised is we address to different type of clientele. people who love cars does not necessarily love diving watch, or does not necessarily love watch for flight or for plane. So we address different type of segments, and we came to the conclusion that today we have best-selling SKUs is this one, the GT Tour, but as well Tiefenmesser in marine. Hydrosphere is selling very well, and Airfight for plane.
Thank you so much. And then just one more question for Reservoir. As we find ourselves in a downturn economically, how do you gauge the market being a small brand?
Yeah, it's a
Sorry, that's a difficult one.
It's a tough moment for many players on the industry. I think it's not only small brands, it's all the brands, even the retailers. And the retailers and our friends who are basically selling our assortment in the US. So what we do is we do it with passion. We try to make basically the best of what we do with what we can do, basically produce and manufacture the best watch, try to be very, let's say, clear about our cash plan, how we basically organize ourselves on that matter. But as well, you know, because we are small, it gives you as well a sense of agility and flexibility, which basically help us to go through this storm. And I'm sure that it's a way that we can basically last for the coming months and years. It's really used our startup mindset to make it happen and to really always provide good, let's say, lasting pleasure to our clients.
Great, thank you. And this will be our last question, but Norqain, let's turn to you and ask you the same thing. How do you respond? How do you gauge the market also as a relatively small brand and a new player in the current economic situation? Emmanuel, are you there?
Yes, I mean, also of course. Sorry, yeah. Also, of course, for us, it wasn't necessarily the year that we were expecting. But I think the advantage of being a family-owned, independent, and versatile company is that we can really react very, very quickly to different circumstances. So, of course, after the initial shock was over, you know, we immediately got our act together, and we just started doing, you know, trying to get the name out, trying to get the brand out. Brand awareness for us is still very important. Obviously, we worked a lot on the digital side of the things. You know, thankfully, our retailers like Joyce's Jewelry, they, you know, gave us tremendous support throughout. Obviously, they also continued or started again as quickly as possible. And, you know, thankfully, things are looking much brighter now. And, you know, we're all very positive for the future. Here for the long term, we're here to stay. And, you know, these hiccups of this year, they're not going to change our long-term vision, because we are an independent company and we can really think long-term. And of course, but we really are very positive about the future, and we believe that, you know, things are going better and upwards from here on.
Great, thank you so much. Well, François from Reservoir, Zach from Joyce Jewelers, and Emmanuel from Norqain, thank you all so much for joining our Adventure in Sport panel. For our viewers, yes, thank you all. For our viewers, our next panel will start at 11. It's called "It's Complicated: The Most Technical Haute Horlogerie Pieces of 2020," and that will include Longa, Grubel Forsey, and Vacheron. So please join us for that, and thank you all.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.